Well, I tell you, yesterday didn't get one phone call, and it was Monday. I expected to get a phone call Monday, but I did get a phone call today. She wanted me to pick up a couple different mowers. So this push mower here, she said when she hit the prime button, she could get it to start, but then it would die. She said it was just running on the priming gas, which is true, probably. But I got it over here and it ran fine. I didn't see one little problem with it. So then she has this John Deere over here. I decided to put these John Deeres back here to get some of the eyeballs off of them as the people on the road drive by. So that one I got to take back Saturday, but this is hers. And I've worked on this one before, and I put a belt on it. Now I know the trolls are going to say, ah, that's a terrible, you did terrible work. Bringing it back. So it was April 21st that she took it, and she's already broke the belt again. This is the second belt she's been through. So I examined the belt with her when I got over there, and there's the brake right there. But when you look at the belt, it's in really good shape. There's nothing frayed about it. It's not cracked or chipped or cut. I mean, there's some wear marks, but that's typical. So my suspicions are she picked up a stick and it got in between the belt and the spindle and broke the belt. I mean, that happens a lot. It's very common. So I feel bad. So I bought a little bit higher quality belt. I mean, these belts are really popular, but they're a little bit cheaper. So I bought a higher quality belt called Stens. Usually when you buy Stens, it takes a week to get them, but fortunately we'll be able to get that in 2 days. So that works out good. But it's twice the price. It's really expensive. So I told her that we're gonna have to get a heavier duty belt. So I mean, she's cutting thick grass. So well, at least got something in. But we're slowing down again. But it rained a lot, so still got a few pickups. People need to pick up this. I don't know if she'll ever pick up. He'll be back from Kansas probably in a week or so. So anyway, what is going on? So I want to talk to you about a project that I got, or a potential project. I don't know how we want to put this, but I want to be very vague about the project because I just want to be vague about it. So I'm going to be vague, but I do need to try to understand, and I spent a good portion of last night awake trying to understand this. What am I going to do? So I got a project, and this one turned out pretty good. I got over there. Well, I mean, they messaged me and said, hey, we got a lawnmower, can you work on it? Sure. And I kind of know these people, kind of. Not like, you know, great friends or anything, but I've talked to the woman several times, and I've talked to him at least once, maybe twice. See him in the gas station a lot. So I mean, they're reputable people in the area. So I get over there, and he's not there yet, and I start loading it onto the truck. I got it loaded on the truck, and he pulls up, and he says, this thing's been sitting around for 6 years. The mice have been in it. He says, I tried to work on it. I don't know what's wrong with it. Won't start, won't turn over. The tires are flat, filthy dirty, and the shroud is missing. He was completely honest about everything. Honest. And he says, this is how much I want to spend on it. And I said, whoa, that's a lot of money. This thing's not worth it. It was one of those that had a plastic transmission. He says, well, I want to give it to my son. I said, okay, I understand. And so I got into it, and I fixed all the wiring, and I figured out why it wouldn't turn over. The brake switch wasn't making good contact with the brake. So I just had to lift the switch up a little bit. I zip tied it so it wouldn't fall back down. And it works. So now it turns over. But as I suspected, there was a lot more wrong with it. So we get, you know, the carburetor and all the wiring. I bet a dozen at least, maybe 2 dozen wires need to be fixed because of that mouse. But I did get the carburetor to, I tested the carburetor, make sure I was getting electricity to the solenoid in the carburetor. It was getting electricity. I had to replace the starter because it was stuck in the up position. It would turn, not well, but it would turn, but it wouldn't go back down into its resting position. So I kept him apprised of every step of the way, and at one point I felt like, okay, he's getting aggravated with me because I keep talking to him too much, and he said, it's still cheaper than a new one. I said, okay. And I just went forward from there. He said, keep going. So I just kept going. And I gave him, well, I don't want to talk about the money, but I took it back. He seemed completely satisfied. I was happy that he was happy. So, you know, good news. But I was worried about it. I mean, when you take on a job like that and you don't know from one step to the next step what's going to happen. I mean, you got to get it to turn over before you can figure out if anything else is wrong. And so what you do is you quote in batches. And you even tell it, okay, I'm going to quote the wiring first, and then we'll see what we need to quote after that. And if they say, fine, here's the total amount of money I want to spend, keep going. I mean, I don't really know if that's a bad idea. I just don't. The problem is the mower 6 years old. He could spend all this money into it, and a week later the transmission goes out and you got to spend $800 to replace transmission. Or the engine blows up because there was some hidden defect that I just wasn't aware of. No way to know. It's possible. And so then you're worried, are they going to come back on you and say it's your fault? So then you got to really give out a huge detailed warranty. But the problem with that is no matter what, you've just touched every part of the lawnmower. You've touched the electrical, you've touched the engine, you've touched the carburetor, the fuel, all of it. You've touched everything. So if they say, if they I don't know, the wiring. Say they get in there and they snag a tree limb and it pulls the wiring out. Well, I've touched the wiring and it catches the lawnmower on fire. Are they going to say, no, that was a wiring issue and you worked on the wiring? You didn't zip tie it correctly or something and it stuck out and a twig grabbed it. They could say lots of things. And so you're like, how do you word that so they understand? And I don't know if there's a good way. So a hypothetical, so that is kind of the hypothetical issue, is when you're, look, this guy that I did the work for, I mean, I completely trust that he's going to be completely honest. I hit a tree, yanked out the wiring. You know, he's not, but the potential. Well, as a matter of fact, the potential, it's more than a potential. This has happened. I mean, it's actually happened. Where there are more problems than what I could see while I was working on it, and it affected the parts that I put onto it. And then they say, okay, well, you know, it's implied that that's under warranty. So if I say in a warranty, I'm only going to warranty the things that I put on, a carburetor or a wing nut or a shroud or whatever it is. If that fails because of something else, am I responsible for it? Let's say they hit a stump and it breaks. You know, there's just a lot of things that can go wrong. And of course, my personality is pretty rough. I've told you that many times. I don't want to work on these things. Well, no, that's not true. I do enjoy working on them. I find them very challenging and fun. So that's not the problem. The problem is I don't I don't know how to communicate to a person, okay, that's not my fault. So what ends up happening, I mean, this has happened many times in, with me working on lawnmowers, a lot, is something completely unrelated ruins the thing that you worked on. Again, I'm trying to be vague. And they want you to fix not only the thing that you worked on, the part that you put on, they want you to replace that because that you touched it, you warranted it, you said you warranted it, it's in your warranty, it's listed in your warranty. But they also want you to fix the thing that caused the problem for free because they say it's related. And I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I can argue, no, it's not. It's two different things. So, I've said this in the past. I know there are going to be people out there that say, oh, no. You're legally fine. That had nothing to do with what you did. And I agree. The law actually agrees. That was completely unrelated. That wasn't approved to be worked on. Nothing. There was no money for an inspection. No one said, oh yeah, I authorize a full bumper-to-bumper inspection. Of course, that would be a lot of money. Having to check every little component, that's a lot of money. So they're not going to do that. But if you go to a judge is going to sympathize with the person who has the least amount of money. And they're going to say, but you had a duty to do this. That's what they're going to say. You had a duty. Because, for example, when I was a kid, I've told you this story. I worked with this guy, a mechanic. His name was Red. Great guy. I barely remember him, but I was 10, 8 years old, and I'd go in there and sweep the floor or something. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about lawnmower repair there. So it was good for me. But he got sued one time. He sold a chainsaw. They brought it back the same day, said it doesn't run. Well, he opened it up, and sure enough, they didn't put oil in the gas. It was a 2-cycle. And he says, you didn't put oil in the gas. So the customer sued the mechanic. Now, how obvious is this? You go to the judge, you say, Judge, he didn't put oil in the in the gas. It says it right in the instruction manual. And the judge says, no, you had a duty to explain to him how to operate it. That was your duty. So he had to buy the guy a new chainsaw or pay him back or whatever the thing is. So that's what they're going to say about an unrelated problem that causes a problem with the thing you worked on. So you put this thing on, this thing over here that you didn't touch breaks this thing. And so you have to replace this and fix this. And I suspect that most judges would rule in that favor. Or at least there's a huge risk. So instead of going through all the court systems, do I just repair everything for free? At this point, you're starting to lose money. Now, I do recognize that you should charge extra money when you run into this because you are going to have to warranty things. And in the past, I have done that. Now, with this guy I trusted, I didn't do that at all. Actually, I cut him a pretty huge break because they do advertise for me quite a bit. So I appreciate that. So, I'm using this guy as an example, but it's a bad example because I completely trust that he's going to do well by me. But there are other situations where they don't. They will take advantage of every dime they can. So you got to be careful, and so you kind of try to, up the price a little bit just to be safe. So when they come back and say, "Oh no, you gotta buy this part," you just hope it lasts 30 days because that's what I warranted for. But then, Carolyn and I are talking. Should I even take these jobs? And it just seems like, it's just more stuff I'm not supposed to take. I can't take that. I can't take this. But there is a risk. There's a risk, and I don't understand why the risk has to be mine. I explained to customers that this is your risk. You have decided that you want to fix something that I say is not worth fixing, but they still want to fix it. But you got to warranty the work you do. I mean, if you make a mistake, you do want to fix it for free. That's true. It's not their responsibility to take the risk on my work or a defective part that I put on. I get that, but the unrelated things that cause your part to fail, I wish I had a good example, something that you would know, like I don't know, running your, okay, so here's an idea. Maybe this would help you. So a mechanic fixes your radiator, had a hole in it. And so you're driving it down the road and all of a sudden it overheats and locks up the engine. So you take it back to the mechanic. The mechanic says, well, there's no oil in it. You ran it without oil. That's why it overheated and locked up. Ah, but you were responsible for the temperature of the engine. So it's a broad thing. So they're going to say you need to replace the engine because you didn't take everything into consideration when, you know, you had a hole in the radiator and that's what you asked them to fix. The thing is they always put you in a tight box. They want you to fit within this price range, and they don't want you to work on a lot of stuff, but then they want it all worked on. So if you'll click this up next box to take your video over to my other channel, really appreciate it. Go check it out. So I hope I can inspire you. I don't know, try to just figure it out, I guess, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.